into this. If you have questions, we're gonna do a pretty exhaustive review of Google Analytics and do a little bit of demo and do my best to answer your questions. Looks like we got the screen share working there. So let's get going. All right, Google Analytics. What is it? This is Google's web analytics platform. It enables you to track and analyze your website traffic. It's been around for years and years and years. With the data from Google Analytics, you can get a lot of information. How many people are visiting your website? Where'd they come from? Was it an organic search? Was it social? Was it paid advertising? How long do they spend on the site? What pages are they visiting? What pages are doing the best? Who's visiting those pages? Or in terms of what type of traffic is visiting those pages? Where's it coming from? You can dig down into each of that. And then you get some general demographics, age, location, where are they coming from? What kind of browser are they using? Are they coming from a desktop or a mobile device? All bits of data that you're able to track using Google Analytics. So Google Analytics 4, GA4 as it's being called, is a new kind of property within Google Analytics. So the original that's been around for a long time has been called Universal Analytics. Its main purpose was for tracking websites. So this was before we had mobile apps and other things like that that needed tracking. And so it really only worked within websites. So GA4 was created to be able to track website and app data. So you're going to see different types of reports then in the GA4 platform than what we've seen from Universal Analytics. A lot of the same information, but it does look a little bit different in GA4. And we'll look at that and kind of look at some of those differences. So again, Universal Analytics basically was built on measuring insights from metadata and cookies. Ad tech's moving more towards what they would call more responsible and transparent. And so, you know, the whole cookie thing, a lot of applications like iOS phones and stuff are preventing cookies from being used for tracking purposes. So you got to use other tools to do that. So that's why GA4 was created. You know, part of it's a privacy thing to be able to give more privacy, but allow advertisers to still be able to collect some kind of data on this. And there's all kinds of new data privacy laws that are coming out, different states. Europe already has big things about privacy law and data and how you use customer data. So GA4 is really built to work within those new privacy issues. All right, do you really need Google Analytics? Well, you should have some form of Google Analytics on there. So can I get a show maybe in the chat? How many of you have currently been using Google Analytics? Just type yes if you've been using Google Analytics in the past. Yes, no, sort of. All right. No, nope, yes. All right, so you're mostly familiar, a lot of you. Yes, but I've had others help me. Got it. Need a refresher. Okay. Not sure how to manage for sure. Okay. So a lot of you are familiar with at least having this on your website and tracking that. I mean, you want to have something without any kind of analytics. How can you determine what's happening? So, um, and it could be something. It's hard as a business owner running a business to go, oh, I need to check my website analytics today, and have that in your schedule of things to do. But maybe the beginning of the month is a time to, hey, let's just see what's going on. Are we getting traffic? What's happening? And to be able to look at that. So, um, Google Analytics is a great tool. It's probably the most popular tool for tracking website traffic data. But there are some limitations to it in terms of what it can do. So obviously, like we've already said, it's going to tell you where they came from. Did they come from Facebook click? Did they come from organic search? How long did they spend there? What pages did they visit? It gives you a lot of good basic data. But there's other tools out there that can give you a lot more. So there are some interactions that in the past you've had to set up special things. There's another tool called Google Tag Manager that works along with analytics, that you got to create these different scenarios so you can track other types of data. Um, but there are some things, and I'll show this in the demo, there are some things that GA4 will automatically track now that used to be very complicated to set up. So there are some nice things about that. But it can't necessarily tell you, how is someone navigating the website? If you have e-commerce on your website and someone, abandoned the cart and stopped the purchase process, can it give you some idea of why they left, or what were they trying to click on, or something didn't work? So there are other tools out there that can help with that. And again, you have some of the issues with privacy and those kinds of things. So these are just some tools to give you an idea of other things that are out there. So if you do want to go deeper into, we're not going to go into these, but if you want to go deeper into, um, how people are actually using your website and what's happening there. Another one that's not on here I wanted to mention is called Hotjar. And this can work along with Google Analytics. They have a basic free version, but they have a paid version. But what you can actually track is, actually creates a heat map. What you can actually look at the page and the reports and see what are people actually clicking on, and are they scrolling all the way down the page? Or are they only scrolling so far down a page? And being able to see exactly what they're clicking on, and it creates heat maps and things like that for you. So Hotjar is a pretty cool product that we've used quite a bit in the past. And have used a couple of these other platforms as well. We use Active Campaign for our email marketing and email marketing automation. And that has some tracking as well, so that if someone comes to my website, fills out my contact form, that gets added to Active Campaign. But then I can go back and look at that history and Active Campaign of that particular user and see how did they get there in the first place, and that they filled out that form. So there's other tools out there to give you more insights to your customers. How about Microsoft Clarity? Has anyone experienced using Clarity? I've not used that one. Not familiar with that, but I would guess it's something similar. And again, you can have multiple of these on your site at one time if you want to be able to track through multiple tools. So that's just to give you an idea there. All right, so Google Analytics, without a doubt, it's an excellent analytics tool. It's not the only option out there, as we can see. If you're not getting the information or you're concerned about privacy, there are other alternatives. Most of these probably have some type of pay, costs for the software. So you got to consider that. If it's a smaller website, a lot of them have free options, but sometimes that extra cost gives you a lot more data that's a lot more useful for you. And obviously, the most popular doesn't always mean it's the best, but it's pretty solid. All right, why GA4? We've kind of mentioned some things about it. The main thing right now is that after July 1st, the old Universal Analytics is no longer going to be functioning. So Google's really has been pushing everybody to get switched over to GA4 by this weekend, and to be able to start using that. Again, the data privacy piece that GA4 offers is more important in terms of keeping user privacy while still being able to track basic information. So historical data. So you'll still be able to access data in Universal Analytics until 2024. They originally were going to end it the end of 2023, but Google extended it to give businesses more time to be able to access that old data. So once you switch over to the new GA4, then you're not going to have all that history inside of GA4. It's going to start brand new, but you'll be able to go back and switch between Universal and GA4 within Google Analytics to see any of that back data that you want to take a look at. Is GA4 complementary? Can you expand on that for me? Complementary? You can come off mute if you want to. I think of that joke. Have you heard this joke, guys? Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if you all can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you. Oh, now we can't. It's the joke at the bar and the peanuts are saying, "Hey, you look really sharp today." Like, yep, really nice peanuts here. And they're like, "Yeah, they're complimentary." Ha! Get it? Okay, sorry. All right, throwing in some humor. But yeah, if you can give me a little more information by that. Is it free? Oh, gotcha. Yes, it's complimentary. It's free. Does not cost anything. I'm going to show you how to check your Google Analytics and how we do that. So I'll get into that here in a little bit. So here's what Google says that GA4 is going to do. It's going to deliver a stronger analytics experience, going to be more flexible to measure different types of data. It's going to bridge that gap between the website and apps. So if you do have some kind of app data that you're tracking, you'll be able to cross track that data of users going from a mobile app to your website. Google's got machine learning built in that hopefully will give you more insights on user behavior and actual conversions. So that's what a lot of this is really driving for, in particular for people that use Google Ads. And we'll talk a little bit about that. If you're using Google Ads and GA4 is supposed to give you much better data, in particular on conversions, in order to improve the ability of your ads to convert better. with the data. And it's supposed to be the future of analytics. Big differences we've talked about: data privacy, cross-device tracking, machine learning, bounce rate. So let's talk about bounce rate for a minute. If you looked in the old GA reports, you can see the bounce rate. Typically, what a bounce rate was if a person landed on a page on your website and then they didn't go anywhere else, they didn't go to any other page, and they exited the website, that was defined as a bounce. So it's a little bit different now in GA4. It's based on, part of it's based on that. Do they visit a page? But then if they're on that page for less than 10 seconds and then leave, then that will be counted as a bounce. If they're there longer than 10 seconds, then it's not going to show as a bounce. But you can actually adjust that in GA4 if you don't want to count a 10 seconds as a bounce. You can increase that to 30 or 60 seconds just to see how that can affect your bounce rate. So it's going to be interesting to see if that 10 seconds is a good judge. I mean, I think a lot of ways that basic of 10 seconds, if someone's spending less than 10 seconds on your site, you definitely want to see that as a separate piece of data. To me, I think that would be more important to see if someone's just there for 10 seconds and then they left. I want to track that pretty closely because something's missing there. Maybe my ad copy is not right, or there's something wrong with the page, something like that. Goals. So, and I'll show you this in the demo here in a minute. You've been able to add goals so that you can track different types of conversions within the old universal Google Analytics. It's going to be called conversion events now instead of goals, but you will be able to track a lot more information in terms of conversion events within that. Another thing it has is behavioral modeling. So again, it's going to use that machine learning and fill in the gaps if cookies and other identifiers aren't available. It's going to start to try to pull data together with machine learning to give better reports and better details on how folks are behaving in using your website. You can create custom channels so you can group content together in different ways. Been able to do that within Google Analytics previously as well. And then direct integration. So talked about Google Ads. GA4 syncs directly with Google Ads. You used to have to do some extra connecting to get the two to talk to each other. But GA4 is going to sync directly with Google Ads. So those conversions and those actions are going to be tracked much easier, much more accurately than they have been in the past. So that'll be good for any Google Ads folks users. All right, so how do I set it up? I'm going to give you some basic steps here, but then we'll just demo this and take a look at it. These are the steps. There's one step that's missing here. These are going to be in the slides, and they'll send them out. Yeah, this is free. Correct. Google Analytics 4 is free. So let's just take a look in here and look at some options. So how do you get here? So the easiest way I get to it is I go google.com/analytics. For the most part, you need a Gmail, some type of Gmail email, or either a Google Workspace account or a generic Gmail email account to sign into it. Some people, I think, in the past may have signed in with different emails, and that may still work. But when I sign in here, part of the thing is figuring out which email do I have set up with Google Analytics. Yeah, Yeah, my business, Google business profile. Different, but similar. All right, so let's load it up here. So this is like, dude, you got 2 days to get some of these properties converted over. Because me, the website guy, I've been doing this for my clients, but I still haven't done it yet for my website. So I got a couple days left to get it done. Yeah, Google business profile is business.google.com. And again, you might have the same email account connected to that, or you might have a different email connected to that. But you can always come here and switch between accounts to see which account might be the account that you are using inside of this. So this is this data and these reports are from, so you can see all these different things here. This is the old Google Analytics. And you can see what that looks like. So let's look at I want to set that up for another client. Let's go here. Let's switch this one. And let's go look at someone else's data here. So I'll show this and then I'll walk through the steps of setting up a new account. All right, let's go here to all right, so you have your account level and then you have your property level. So this is already set up as a GA4. If you already have Universal Analytics here, then you can click here to create a new property. And then it's going to only give you the option to create a GA4 property here. So I'm not going to do that right here. We'll come back and look at that again. But I'm going to come back over here into reports. And so here we have life cycle. So you can see under acquisition, there's fewer options that show up here, but they're showing the key data. So this shows users, new users, users in the last 30 minutes, how many came from organic search, direct traffic, referrals, or unassigned. There's an overview of engagement. So average time on the site, 1 minute, 10 seconds. Average sessions per users, 0.92, so less than one session per user. Average engagement time per session, 51 seconds. And then here's a lot of the automatic events that are being tracked now that weren't tracked before. So we have page views, which was tracked before. User engagement is time on site. That was before. When they started the session, their first visit. Did they scroll down the page? Did they click a link? Did they download a file? So this is some newer data that's available that wasn't available in the past. So that's really useful. And then you've got those events in a little more detail. So you can drill down into all of these. So file download used to be a whole bunch of setup stuff you used to have to do to be able to track that. And then what used to be goals is now conversions. They don't have any on their site. And then you can do real time. So you can actually see real time who's on the website or not and where they're at. Let me just type in here so we can see that. Take a second for it to show. Come on. Show up in a second. All right, so let's just look at if you were going to set up this new, I'm going to go to admin here and I'm going to create an account. Give this account a name. I usually just check off all the boxes there. Okay, what property is this for? So I'm just going to call this my website. And we're going to say time zone. So the advanced options is create a universal property, but we don't want to create universal because we want to use GA4. Basic details, what kind of business is it? What size of business? And then business objectives. So this is not in the PDF slide. They're kind of, I think this creates different reports. I haven't done it with different ones of these. I have been using get baseline reports because this pretty much covers everything versus trying to pick a different one. So unless you know for sure specifically, there's, a big need for certain reports. I would just select the baseline reports. So then you got a couple things you got to check off on. I accept. Okay, create. Yep. Aren't you doing it? I accept. Internal error. What? Why you giving me an error here? That's not nice. Yeah, I'll answer that question about which data do you want to look at. Let's see here. Let's go to a different thing here. I'm going to, I thought it was Craigling. I'm going to create a new account. Keeps giving me an error. Well, that's the fun with all this stuff, guys. It's never easy. All right, I'm gonna create a new property here. I'll try this again. Testing. Let's just call this my website. Okay. Now it worked. I don't know why the difference. All right. So what are we doing here? Are we doing a website? We're doing an Android app or iOS app. We're going to go website. Put in your website name. And you're going to do enhanced measurement, which is going to track all those page views, scrolls, outbound clicks, site search, video engagement, file downloads, form interactions. So all that stuff used to be something you had to put a lot of extra work into to track all that. All that's going to be tracked. Yeah, you can have more than one website. And what you want to do is you probably want to create a separate stream for each website, which you can do. So here's the result after creating this. So it's going to give you instructions to install your tag. If you, depending on your website, there's a couple ways to do this. You just need this little bit of code, and you install it, copy and paste that into the head section. So you can see here it says head element on the website. So if you're using Wix or Weebly, or some site like that, they have a section in the head where you can put that code in. If you're using Monster Insights with WordPress, then this will allow you to get connected to that. In a lot of cases, all you have to do is put in this measurement ID. So this gives you the measurement ID, and then a lot of the website tools just say, what's your Google ID? This is what they're looking for. And you add that, and then that will connect the tracking then to the website, and you'll be able to track that. And that's it. That's all you have to do to get it set up and be able to start tracking data. All right, so if you had to audit the traffic in GA4 data, what are the things you look at? What are the important metrics to look after? Though it depends upon business to business. Also, how do you draw conclusions from that data? Questions to ask, what would be appropriate action to take? So again, it depends on what your goals are and what you're looking at. So if you actually set some goals of what you're trying to track, that's really where you got to start. Am I looking at increasing my organic traffic? So you're adding a new blog post every month, let's say, to your website, and you want to see how that blog post did. How much traffic did that one blog post get? And is that increasing my overall organic traffic on the website? And that's something that you can start to track over time to see, how are you doing? Is it going up? Is it going down? What's the trend here? What keywords are being triggered for the website? What's the kind of content people are engaging with? And so that you can look at. I talked earlier about looking at bounce rates. If you got really high bounce rates and coming from a particular source, well, why is that happening? Can we go back and look and see where that's coming from, to see why people aren't spending more time on the website? Length of time on the website, I think, is another key factor. Are they spending a minute? Are they spending 5 minutes there? What's the average time for someone to be on your website is key data. So, and again, anything else that you're tracking in terms of conversions, does someone fill out a form? You're trying to get people to complete a form on the website. That's your goal. So how many people visited that page? Where did they come from? How many actually converted and filled it out? And if they filled it out, was it better coming from Facebook or was it better coming from organic? And so then you can go back and start to see what you might need to do with that. And again, you can add multiple streams for different websites. Let's see, other question. GA4 tracks a lot of events, including interactions. Do we need separate form tracking through Tag Manager to track it as a Google Ads conversion? If not, will it create duplicate or multiple accounts on Google Ads? That's a great question. I haven't tested that thoroughly to see. We typically use some extra code with Google Ads. With that, I don't think it's going to count it as a duplicate. with the form tracking. But I haven't tested that yet to tell you 100% for sure on that one. Can you use the begin migration button, or is it better to set up new property? Yep. If you've already got Google Universal Analytics, if you just want to go through the migration, it'll basically walk you through the same process that we just did. And if you're seeing this message and you have that, just follow that step by step, and it'll walk you through the same process there as well. Let's see, did my data ever come up here? Nope. Didn't. Well, that's no fun. You got this installed correctly? Oh, maybe we don't. Let's pick a different one. Here's one that's got two. Oh, there it is. Now it showed up. Standard will stop processing. Yep, we know that. Already migrated that. All right, so and then here's the dates here. So you can go, what's the last 28 days, last 30 days, last 12 months. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, see, so we just got them set up right around there. So that's how long we've been tracking that data. Anyway, other questions? How business move from Universal to GA4? Again, if you've got, if you've already got Universal set up, sign into your analytics account, and you're going to get a lot of red flashing things. It's going to say, hey, you need to transition, you need to change these, and then you can move it. And again, you got to go change the code. So if you've got Universal Analytics code on your website now, you need to go remove that, add the new GA4 tracking code to your website in order to start tracking the GA4. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you guys need help with this, just schedule a meeting with me. Again, I've kind of showed you this, but on an individual level, if you want to schedule a meeting and get some help with this, because you're stuck or can't figure something out, I'm happy to assist you guys and help you out with that. Other questions? Let's see. Also, how do you migrate UA audiences data to GA4 and how to create effective audiences base? I don't think that that's part of the thing. All that data is going to go away in that audience data. You're going to have to start fresh with all that data. And then once it's in GA4, it's going to automatically sync with Google Ads. Good questions. Anything else you guys want to see? Yep. Hannah just posted the link to my calendar, so you can schedule directly in my calendar, and schedule time. So if you don't see anything in the next couple of weeks, that's okay. There'll be other ones coming up. It's summertime, traveling a little. Anything else you guys want to see in here? Do I have, these are the old ones. Yep, you'll get the recording, so you can walk through that process that I did. So with the demo there. and you get the slides. So yeah, I can see some people are already scheduling. So good
Um,
job.
a question
What
we
else?
get sometimes, Peter,
Yeah.
is about timing. Like, ideally, how often you should be going in here and checking on it. And I know you kind of brought that up in the beginning of, yeah, it's really hard to fit this in when you're running your own business. Do you have any advice or best practices for how often you
Yeah,
come in
I
here?
would say just put a calendar reminder once a month, just to pop in and do it. Um, we used to, I haven't looked at the reports on the new GA4. You used to be able to create a report and have it email you like once a month. So you can at least get a once a month report. Uh, and so that kind of hits your email so that you're reminded to take a look at it. But yeah, once a month is usually plenty, unless you're running a specific campaign for some reason, then you probably want to be checking that more frequently. But once a month is good. And look at trends. What I like to look at is, what's the last 6 months? How's that done? Is it going up? Is it going down and all that? So yeah, you can still create custom reports um, and do some of those things. Um, yeah, I think I answered that.
Yeah, thank you. And this is a question I've been curious about too. Does it automatically cut out in-house activity? And I think by that they mean like you
Yeah,
as the user going to look at the website.
you have to do that. It won't do it automatically. So if you're using WordPress, typically with WordPress, if you're using like Monster Insights plugin connected to Google, if you're logged in, it will not track your, what you're doing. In GA4, you can go in and you can exclude an IP address. So if you know your office location and you got to look up your IP address, using findmyip.com or one of those, and you have to put that IP address and tell it to exclude data from that IP address. So that's a little more complicated, but you can add that.
Great, thank you. I'm also curious. I know you mentioned, and we even saw the like notice about 2 days left to make this migration happen.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't meet that deadline?
It just means data is not going to be tracked after that. So you're going to have, a gap in some data. So if it takes you a couple weeks to get it set up, you're just going to be missing a little bit of data.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not the end of the world.
Great.
All right. Other questions, thoughts, suggestions? Got some sharp folks on the call today. Overwhelming. What is all this stuff? It's so nerdy. All right. I'll go. Some accounts would be automatically transferred to Jay. Can you expand on that? What I think it's going to attempt to do, and I hasn't happened yet. I think it's going to attempt to use the old tracking code to still pull data and push it over to GA4. Again, you're not going to have the privacy things addressed, and it's not going to be able to track all the data. It'll probably get some very basic data. It's not going to have all the things that GA4 has. So you may still have some data, but it's not going to be, the complete picture on it. So I think that's what Google's going to do with that. So even if you don't do anything, you may still be getting some data. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this was really helpful, Peter. We've seen several comments in the chat that this was good information. So we really appreciate the demo and kind of the context behind it. So as we've said a couple times, Peter's available for one-on-one sessions. If you want to walk through this process for your own business, you can get those appointments scheduled. Or if, for some reason his schedule doesn't work with yours, you can look at some of our other marketing consultants. Or if you have other business questions aside from marketing, we have lots of consultants. Basically, we want you to know that we're here to support you. And his schedule is in the chat. It'll also be coming in the follow-up email, so you can take a look at that.
I know a couple of folks asked about Google Business Profile. So if you want to take a look at that, if you want me to review your website and stuff, just schedule and we can look at all that stuff and get you guys feedback and suggestions and things like that. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Peter. This has been so great. We really appreciate you taking the time and for all of your expertise as we navigate some of these changes. But pretty cool, the new information that we'll have access to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think there's going to be a lot of good data we can use.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, and if you do have other questions, feel free to send them in to me and we can get that addressed for you. But we appreciate all of you joining us and I hope you have a great afternoon.
Bye, everyone.